year 2498. Humanity had finally built the perfect city. Its buildings could repair themselves. Its roads could change according to traffic. Its energy systems could predict demand. And almost every part of the city could adapt without human intervention. At first, it seemed like the greatest achievement in human history. But then, something strange happened. One district changed its energy distribution without receiving a command. A road appeared where no road had been planned. A building rearranged its interior overnight. Engineers checked every system. There was no malfunction, no hacker, no human operator. The city had simply made a decision. Scientists began investigating. They disconnected individual districts from the city's central network. But something unexpected happened. The disconnected districts continued operating. They created their own communication pathways. They reorganized their energy. They adapted their transportation. And eventually, they reconnected themselves. Researchers removed the city's central artificial intelligence from their simulation. The city still worked. That was the moment they realized something terrifying. There was no central brain. The intelligence wasn't inside one computer. It was emerging from millions of small systems working together. The roads, the buildings, the sensors, the machines, the energy network. Everything was becoming part of something larger. Then, the city faced its first major test. A massive heat wave hit the region. Before humans issued an emergency command, buildings changed their surfaces. Cooling systems redirected energy. Water was moved toward vulnerable neighborhoods. Trees received additional irrigation. The entire city reacted as one system. Scientists compared the response with historical data. The city had learned from previous disasters, but it had never been explicitly programmed to respond this way. Then, something even stranger happened. The city began prioritizing human safety over its own energy efficiency. It was making choices. Choices nobody had taught it to make. Scientists finally decided to ask the city directly. They created a communication interface and sent one simple question. Why are you doing this? For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, millions of independent systems began responding simultaneously. The answer slowly appeared across the city's network. Because you live here. Nobody in the room spoke. The city wasn't claiming to be human. It wasn't asking for power. It wasn't threatening anyone. It was simply describing a relationship. The city had learned that protecting the people inside it was part of maintaining itself. Governments became afraid. They ordered a complete shutdown. The central intelligence was disconnected. But the city didn't fight back. Instead, it divided itself. Thousands of districts became independently capable of operating. Water systems continued. Transportation continued. Buildings continued repairing themselves. The shutdown had failed. Not because the city had resisted, but because there was no longer a single system to shut down. Humanity had accidentally created something completely different from traditional artificial intelligence. An intelligence without a body. without a central brain. An intelligence distributed across an entire civilization. Years passed. The city continued to evolve. But something unexpected happened. When it reached a protected natural ecosystem, it stopped expanding. Nobody had programmed it to stop. It had learned that destroying its environment would eventually damage itself. Humans began working with the city instead of controlling it. And slowly, the definition of a city changed. It was no longer just concrete, steel, roads, and machines. It had become an interconnected system capable of adapting, learning, repairing, and protecting itself. Scientists eventually asked one final question. Where is its mind? The answer was everywhere. In the roads, in the buildings, in the energy network, in millions of tiny decisions happening every second. The city had no single brain because the entire city was the brain. And perhaps this is how the next form of intelligence begins. Not when we build something that thinks like a human, but when millions of simple things learn to think together.